Hello, everybody. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on what time you are listening or watching this. You are welcome to Business Garage. My name is Sharon Tumsime, and I am your host today. Business Garage is part of Worship Harvest Ministries. Worship Harvest Ministries, a movement of the gospel, discipleship, and mission. We exist for the purpose of catalyzing spiritual, social, and economic renewal in our immediate communities, and as a result, the world. And what do we do at Worship Harvest? We plant life-giving, disciple-making, community-renewing churches. So if you were wondering, yes, it's a Christian organization. Followers, lovers of Jesus Christ, our Lord and our Savior. And what do we do at Business Garage? We resource kingdom businessmen and women to go out there and do great things, attempt greatness for Jesus, really to bring more people into the knowledge and purpose and love of Jesus Christ in the marketplace. That's what we do at Worship Harvest Ministries and directly on Business Garage. Speaking of strategy, this word they throw it around all around. Let me hear MD Allan, strategy, tell me, because we're like, you have to think strategy, remove operations. So let's talk a little bit about this strategy
some of these
thing.
technical terms are still very technical.
It's more like teasing us, out throwing all sorts of words when they ask us, well, how much did you make? Then we throw technical words out there.
I think strategy is more to do with, one, you have painted a vision.
Okay.
Strategy is what takes you there. How do we get where we want to go?
Yeah.
That's what I think strategy is about.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I believe I was talking about, that you have strategy, you have tactics, you have, you are headed somewhere, and that's what you need to constantly refine and improve, the strategies that are going to lead you to the destination, the vision where you want to go. You know? Yeah. That's what I think strategy is, When there's a way people make it sound, and you think it's a very different term from.
Yes, yeah.
But if we can get into that habit of thinking of what are we thinking about, how to get there.
Yes.
That's what you're thinking about, how do we get there? What happens when, imagine, you can even start painting a picture. When we get there, what happens?
What happens? Yeah.
Imagine thinking about after you've gotten there.
Yes. That's even another way of thinking. Yes. So
I think that's what strategy is.
Yes. That's in essence what you're saying. Where it comes out of the thinking that you talked about. Yes. That's the only place you'll get to. And somebody, I think I asked you earlier that what are some of the things that you should do? Because now for you've reached the level of scaling. So now we are changing the gear. Now we are scaling. You're at scale level.
Yes.
What are the things you did, or maybe some of them you do them because the board has said this and this and this. How should I get my business ready? What is that I need to do on that journey? What are the things I need to be thinking about? What are those things I must think about in my business as I go to that level? Because we've said there's no joy in being small. There's no glory there. You need to be big, and scaling really is part of being big. So what are some of the things a business leader, that MD, that CEO needs to think about in this season now as they prepare their business to get there? Because you don't just wake up and scale. Yeah.
Okay, so I think there is, first of all, a CEO is in the business of selling a vision.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
You're in the business of selling
every day.
Every single day. To the staff, to the customers, to the investors, it's that's what you're constantly in the vision of. And so if you're in the business of selling the vision, you must constantly refine it to the different perspectives of all the different people.
Yes, to deal with their why for them.
Yes, meaning you must constantly speak out your vision, especially when it is not visible, when it's not easy for people to see. You understand?
Yeah.
And you must be proud of it and say it to as many people as possible. If you're small, say it, because that's all you have.
in that season.
That's all you have at that moment. You understand? That's your biggest asset is the vision you carry at that moment, because you have nothing else. You know, I would constantly tell people our dreams from 2011.
Wow.
And to this day, of course, some believe us now. Maybe,
some didn't believe you. But it didn't stop you.
It didn't stop me. I would keep telling people our dreams, our visions, you know, like constantly tell people. And there's this thing of, I don't know, but where people say that if you tell people, there are those who don't wish you well, they will not stop.
Whether you will tell them or not, they're not wishing you well.
If
they don't wish you well, they don't wish you well.
So the easiest way of converting them today is telling them so that years later they will say, this guy was serious, you know?
Yes.
But I think that's also one way of people holding you accountable. Because then you will have to try and do what you said you are going to do, because you told us this was coming.
I know.
Where is it? So that's one of the things I think you need to be able to do. Communicate your vision. Because first of all, not many people are going to ask you about your dream when you're still in one room. Do you understand? Not many. Even those who ask, it will just be for conversation purposes, but also they will not believe you. So you have to preach yourself out of where you are. You know? Number two, I think when you're a startup, I hope that's what you are asking around. Like when you're starting up, what are some of the things you need to
when you want to scale? I've already started my business. I want to scale.
Okay. Scaling is about process.
Okay.
It's about process and systems and product. You need to be able to know that your processes are solid enough to allow you to scale. You can't just scale. I don't even know what example to use, but you just can't scale if you don't have the processes. You understand? So if we are talking about, pulling yourself out of the business, if you're going to be having a problem when you're here in the, if you're still operational and you're scaling, you're doubling what you're doing here. You understand?
Yeah.
So you're going to burn out so fast. So you must focus on the processes, procedures. Many people forget. So process is this from this to this to this. You understand?
Yeah.
Procedures is steps on each process. Under each process. You understand? So this is where you need to focus. To start the process of maybe documenting your processes and procedures, to have something, so that when you scale, you're not scaling, you're scaling this. This is what you're scaling. These processes and procedures. This is what you're multiplying. You understand? So that you're not scaling your business, your operational business in the business, because then you can only go to
a maximum,
to a certain maximum.
Yeah.
Because as you scale, you continuously improve these processes.
You're always in the process of refining. Continuous improvement.
That's it. You're in the process of continuous improvement. Because even if, imagine now, you think really running 3 branches. Imagine people who run 1,000 branches. What kind of processes do they have?
Exist in that space?
That's it. So scaling is about process.
Yes.
It's about product. You understand? You must have the right product that is going to the other market. Otherwise, you're going to just crash.
Yeah.
Okay? So you must have the team. You understand?
Yeah.
So if you have those 3, I believe, then
you're well on the way
you're on the way to scale.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if somebody's thinking about it, you need to be thinking about your processes right now. Are they easily replicable somewhere else with so much ease? Is it documented that you hand them a book and they're like, branch 4, here is your manual, launch.
So I would hear stories how these these known franchises of like food and whatever, they've got manuals on their processes and procedures to the detail of even opening the door for a customer. Can you imagine that?
Wow. Yeah.
That's someone has thought to that extent. Meaning they can map out the entire business journey, the customer journey, everything is mapped out. I think even cleaning is mapped out. How do you clean?
Yeah.
You don't
How
just
many,
come and
yes,
you don't just come and throw a rag there and pour water and like that.
Yes,
those are all processes and procedures.
Yeah.
Everything is broken down. Now, what these multinationals do, they spend so much time training their teams about these processes and procedures. So you find people are like machines.
Yes.
They
want you as limited thought, just execute. So now you have an army just execute.
Now that's the thing about scaling. Because then you can scale this model everywhere else.
Yes.
Okay, and you can keep refining it and improving it.
Yes. All you need to go somewhere, get people, hand them the manual.
That's it.
Yes.
All you need to do is train these people and get them to execute. And you'll deliver the results.
Yes. So I like what you've just given people like 3 things to focus on.
Yes.
Make sure your processes are okay. So if you still feel your processes are, maybe you're not ready.
And I don't mean perfect. That's also the other thing.
It should be in a good place.
You just need to make sure, because you see, even when you scale, you have to keep improving. You'll actually find that they were not very good. You understand?
Yes.
But you just need to make sure that right here where it is, 1, your processes are documented.
Yes.
2, you have delegated, you have a team, you have people that can be able to go.
You're no longer the alpha and the omega.
Right? 3, you have a product.
Yeah.
Those, I think, for me, are some of the critical things. I believe there are others.
Yeah, because many people say you have to make sure you have made some money. You have to have a certain level of revenue.
Well,
as in like that's the key. Is that the key thing? Because I might have it, but when I don't have all these other things.
I believe that revenue would not be, because opportunity, if you have these 3, then it's easy to identify or to find an investor or to get a loan, things like that. But when it comes to, if you have the money and you don't have these 3, you're guaranteed of failure. You're going to just burn money and learn the very things that you should have learned before you went out there, So I think, because if your product is not a product that's going to work in the market you're going in, what are you going to do? Who will you sell to? Who are you setting up for? You understand?
Yes.
If your processes have got a lot of leakages, what are you going to do? You're going to show your confusion everywhere in the space you've gone into. You're going to scale your confusion. And it's like scaling a negative. You always get a bigger negative.
A bigger one.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or if you don't have the team that is going to go there, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So I think once you have those, many of these others, money you can find. Any other thing.
Yes, then it's easier to sell this vision when you have some of these things in place comfortably and things like those. So what would you say is a risk that this person should look out for, an MD look out for? You've talked about the fear that holds you back. What else will hold me back and keep me in that state of mind of
comfort? Comfort is also is a big dream killer. Comfort. There are a number of things, I think. When you stop thinking, you stopped doing your work as a leader. You have stayed in the present. That's what I always believe. I believe that if we really, I wish I would tell this to people in a different language, because the art of thinking is something that not just a CEO should do. It's something that every single person should do. I don't understand how people live without thinking. It just doesn't make sense.
They're not living, probably.
Right? Because you're living for the day.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
I just don't understand how you can live without thinking. What are you living? What are you doing? Like you can't just wake up in the morning and do the same thing you did yesterday and without painting a picture. And then somehow you expect life to fall on you.
Yes. Yeah. I think some people maybe don't think that they think, but they don't think that they have the right to think that far for whatever reason or the other. You know,
and many people think when they're in trouble.
Yes.
You know, or when there's, you know, like that negative thing.
Yeah, like you said, I had so many problems from the time, say, I was born or whatever, and all I've done is stay in survival mode. So the only thing I think about is surviving.
Yeah. So we must.
So it's thinking, but it's not. It's just thinking to survive. It's not thinking greatness, or it's just stay alive.
Yeah. You if you can enjoy thinking, meaning you're thinking right.
Yeah, I think that's the key thing. Don't just think.
Yeah.
Enjoy the thinking process. Make sure it's a lovable process. It's a time that you're actually taking pleasure in. Yes.
I think that's where the process would start.
Yeah, because when a thief is thinking.
Right?
A lot.
You need to be able to think right.
Yes, yeah.
But you know, I also think for a startup, for people who are starting out in business, you have the dream, you have the vision, right? But you need to survive.
Yeah.
So the thinking also graduates from one, we need to survive, we need to break even, we need to be able to meet our bills, okay? At that point, that's what you're thinking about. You're actually thinking about how are we going to be able to
survive this
sell, to get some product out there and be able
and
to
pay
survive
these bills.
and pay these bills, you know?
Yeah.
Then, and that always comes out. I would advise anyone who is starting out to really find mentorship.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you something around that very thing that you said. Yeah, if you can continue and the mentor.
Okay, maybe you can ask the
question.
Yeah,
like the value of people, because like I said, sometimes I'm stuck in my mindset because that's my environment.
Yeah,
I'm just in a place where we are all surviving. Yeah. So and the importance of having people around you, because up to a certain point, Allan, I'm sure there's someone who said something that triggered something.
Let me tell you, different conversations. Now, I was very fortunate to have found someone to guide me then when I was starting out. And I say that I was very fortunate because I don't know if I had not had that conversation, what would have been of me, you know, I don't know. But I think that was God maybe directing my steps to sort of guide me along the way. And I think for me, that conversation that I had, and then the follow-on conversations, the person, of course, now is very busy. But then they sort of use their life journey to be able to guide me on what, and for me, that's what I like. I like to be advised by a person who has gone ahead.
The practical element that you're talking about.
Yes. So, you know, those foundational discussions around how do you deal with money in a business? How do you deal with we used to have conversations about how do you calculate net worth? How do you set goals in
time management? Sometimes that's a key area as a business. Yes,
So those are some conversations that I would think if there is anyone starting out, find mentorship.
Find people.
Find mentorship and be accountable, like self-accountable. Don't expect the mentors you find to chase you and start trying to hold you accountable and say this or the other. No, you must be self-driven.
So do you still have somebody now?
Oh yes, I do.
Yeah,
I always have a mentor because it doesn't stop. You can never arrive because you're headed somewhere and you're still headed there. Yeah, you know. So I still have a mentor.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think they are. You know, it's you appreciate them even much more as you continue to make progress.
Yes. Yeah. I find that very humbling that you've reached that point where even up to now you are still getting someone, because I think some of the pitfalls is that we don't have enough people speaking into our lives. You know, maybe you look at your peers, you've probably gone ahead of them. you're the ego in the park. So what next? So many people just stay there without anybody. But I like that you've been very intentional about it. Speak into governance for business.
Governance.
Yes.
Business. Again, actually, I don't know anything as good as business. It is one area of life
yes.
where there is continuous learning,
Yeah.
and you can continuously push yourself to learn. So I remember some years back, considering my background, I've finished university and I've started business. I didn't really know what this thing is about. Governance and having a board and all these things.
Yeah.
But because of the dream I had, I knew that this is something that we had to have if we are to get to where we dream of being. So I remember walking up to Alfred and asking him, man, what is this thing about a board? How does it work? How do you even pick board members? How do you pick people to be on your board? And so eventually that's when he tells me, we have a product for you called, I think it was
Rent a board. Yes, they still do actually.
Yes, I know they still do. But that time,
you were like,
come,
we have you. You're the target market.
Oh my God. And I think I milked every juice out of
that board which you rented.
I did. Because when you're looking for help, you cannot try to cover up your issues. You must be, you can't go for an operation in theater.
I know, and you're like, I'll stay in my suit.
I'll stay in my suit. I don't want you to see my, you understand? You must be willing
to be vulnerable.
Yeah. For you to receive the help that you're supposed to receive.
Yeah.
And for me, that was, I came as I was. And to this day, they still joke and disturb me and say, "Nah, Allan, you came from far." So
yes,
I learned quickly through that, and we had a target of 3 years, which they gave me, and even me, I had worked with a target of 3 years. They did. I didn't know that they had the target. That after 3 years of working the business, their goal was
you should be
now, move on to a fully functioning board.
Which is what it should be.
Which is what it should be.
Yeah.
And thank God that after 3 years,
you were ready.
We were ready, and now we have a fully functioning board.
Yes.
And it's exciting.
Yeah.
It's exciting. I tell you, Pastor Sharon, there is nothing as exciting as business. I haven't found it yet.
Yes.
Because now having a board, it feels lighter.
Yeah.
Doing business.
Really?
Yes.
Because some people hate even the thought of a board.
But that's part of operational. That's the operational mindset we are talking about.
Yes,
you understand? 1, operational. 2, lack of accountability. 3, it is one of the best things that I think would happen to a business. Having a board. Because you have got, as a CEO, you don't have very many people to bounce off
ideas,
or to hold you accountable.
Especially
if you hold both roles of shareholder and CEO.
The CEO.
Because then
you can do whatever you want.
Precisely. And so the board is the one to sort of begin questioning you and holding you accountable. Because you're holding everyone else accountable.
So if I still have the fear of having a board, I'm still in that operational. I've not yet transitioned.
Precisely. Yeah. Because you have the fear of being accountable. That's what it means.
Yeah.
Because what else is the board going to do?
Yes.
Yeah. The board is supposed to hold you accountable.
Yeah, and ask you the tough questions that no one else is going to get to you.
And help you. The share, and because the board is responsible to the shareholders, to the investors, which
which you are also.
Which you are. So who are they helping?
You.
Right? So how can you refuse to be helped and you think that you're the wise one?
Yes.
So I think, 1, we need to dream big. I've told you dreaming is free. As a business owner, as a CEO, you're responsible for dreaming big. You will be it is madness for you not to dream big not to envision, and you instead blame others for not going where you should have taken them. Okay?
Because how are they going there?
How are they going to go there? You know? So you are required to dream big, to think big, to get out of the comfort zone. We must get comfortable in the uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's where the growth is.
Yes.
You know? And so you must get into that space of being held accountable. That's where the uncomfortable is. It's a bit uncomfortable.
The one. Yes, it's
that's
of
part
course.
of the process.
Yes, yeah,
you understand?
yeah.
But
yeah.
you must be vulnerable to that level, because tomorrow, when you're not there, you want them to hold the next CEO accountable. But you don't want to be held accountable.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
So that's really
if you're hoping for it to survive,
yes.
you know?
Yes.
It's like, having being a parent and you don't want teachers to...
Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
so it's very, very... Or it's like being a parent, you have got children, but yourself, you have no one who can speak into you.
Yes, yeah.
Can you imagine
yeah.
that? And in fact, that's what they tell us. That's what I remember Upmo telling us, that if you're going to marry,
find someone who is accountable.
If you're
your
lady
husband
and your boyfriend
has no one he fears.
Has no one he fears. There's a
fear him. Fear your boyfriend.
Fear your boyfriend. You understand?
Yeah,
so that's the
among
same
the
thing.
leading questions you ask.
Oh yes.
Yes.
So
even businesses, an investor is going to first ask you,
thank you very
where's
much.
the board?
Corporate governance,
Yes,
where is your board?
Yes, yeah.
Now you imagine, do you think that investor, if you have no board,
he's like,
do you think he's going to trust and invest in your company?
He can't.
Precisely.
Yeah. Yes.
I told you business is like a human being.
Yes.
Business is life.
Yeah.
It's life itself.
Yeah. Yes. He's like, this marriage, I won't manage.
Yes.
I like it. I like what you've said, and I think you've really helped businesses to just business owners to come out of it, because that's part of the reason why our businesses are not going to the next level. Uganda has so many, but some of the things you've said, I think, are some of the reasons. We don't want to bring anyone on board to advise us.
Do you know why? Let me tell you.
Yeah.
It's very funny. Do you know why many times you don't want to bring people on board to advise you?
Tell me.
Advise us?
Tell me. I know, but let me.
Because it's not even lack of accountability. It's because we are the money and you are not separate.
Yeah.
You understand? You're all
yes, you're like,
you're
this woman won't take my money.
When you want to go
buy,
for lunch,
to travel,
everything,
yes.
You're picking from
the
business basket.
Usually that's the key reason why we don't want to be accountable.
That's why.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, if you are able to separate yourself from this thing,
it's the key thing.
And that's one of the key things.
Everything else, tasks, hiring,
everything else,
okay. Yes,
you can be held accountable. But also, it's part of humility to have a person come and question you. I think it's really powerful.
Yet you're the one who slaved to raise this business.
And yet they are also helping.
In a way, you're the one being helped.
You're the one being helped.
Yes.
So, it's a bit of foolishness when you don't want to be helped.
Yeah.
And yet, there is wisdom in a multitude of counselors.
I like that you've said that very clearly.
Yes.
That the reason why you don't have a board is probably because you've not separated your money from yourself, and you're not ready.
Oh, yes.
You're not ready. Yes, and you're not ready. And that can only mean that business is not going to grow. It might grow, but one day everything will come crumbling down. Because we've seen the businesses, some of them, they rise so far, and one day, because of that habit, he has diverted everything, and this one just crashes.
But what's a business?
Yeah.
That's also a very... a business is an operation that... It's like asking what's a human being. What makes you a human? What makes you different from an animal? It's the fact that we're able to think, we have got a brain, we're able to create, we're able to communicate,
and finally speak.
You understand? And that is just... Now there is a whole operation internally.
Systems and processes happening that allow this thing to finally happen. Yeah.
You understand?
Yes.
So every business has got every business has got systems and processes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there are businesses that are really stuck in infancy. You know, there are businesses that are, what would you call it? That are stunted.
Yes. Yeah.
And most of those are
They've refused. Yeah.
They failed to grow.
Yeah.
And because of the one who started them.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Because even your child, you can stunt your own child.
Yes.
You don't feed it.
You understand?
The things you tell it.
Yes. When you start taking the food of the child,
the child you're eating,
you're the one eating everything. You understand?
Eventually the child might die.
That's where you have people who look much better than their businesses. So you have a person who is
glammed up,
who looks
the car, that their home, etc.
My friend. But when you go to the business, you find they're in one room like this. But you're like, how is it, right?
Your child looks like this.
You know, the thing which is feeding you, can you imagine? The thing that is feeding you
is just dies
in a one room.
Yeah.
Then you who it is feeding, you're driving a Range Rover, you are always in first class, taking pictures, doing this and that. You know, we must strive to let the business look better than you.
Yeah.
That's when you actually look good.
Yes.
You understand?
You built your thing.
Oh yes.
Yeah, you've
when
raised
the business
it.
looks better than you. Then
that's a true parent.
That's a true parent. That's a true husband. Also,
yes,
if
a
you have
true
a wife
husband.
looking
That's
better
true.
than you.
The glory of the wife.
Yes. You know?
Yes.
That's what I think. Because and this is what I've always believed, that if you can build one business successfully well, you can build any business. Because the principles are the same. What is different is the product.
Yes.
Business is around principles. You know?
Yeah.
If this business can build around particular principles, even if the product is money, we can do any other business.
Any other business, yes.
The thing is, are we doing the business right? Are we paying our taxes? You know, let me tell you one of the other business skills.
Yes.
Taxes.
A statutory obligation.
Let me tell you, I actually think it is. Would I say a dream killer?
It can, Because first of all, you have to stay small.
This is what makes people stay small.
Yeah, you will stay small.
People do not.
You will not risk going beyond a certain level. Yeah.
If I would advise,
advise us.
One day I will come here and we talk about the topic of taxes.
We have time. Next we have.
You know, one day we will really talk about
that conversation.
Yes. Because I think we were not mentored very well.
Yeah.
I think we need to think about the right mentorship. There is no way we can build successful businesses without giving Caesar what belongs to Caesar.
That's exactly what I was thinking about.
It is.
Yes, because when people think when Jesus said that statement, he was upset, but he was not saying, he wasn't angry.
I can tell you.
He said it in good faith, really. Yeah.
Unless there is no successful business that I know that is operating, that is not paying, unless they have got
the waiver,
tax waivers or tax, what are they called? Or tax benefits.
Yes, yeah.
Even those ones, they're paying every tax they're required to pay.
That's why now they have earned the right to be the waiver. Anyway,
many years ago when we were starting, they'll tell you need to have two books.
I know, and it was so like the truth. Yes, yeah.
It is a lie from the devil and it is evil.
Yeah, and that's how we stay small.
If there is anyone out there who I would advise, I would advise you to do tax planning, to understand your tax liability and try and make sure that you are doing what
on the
is
right
required
side
of you.
Yeah.
Because you will never grow. You're going to remain stunted. You will hardly scale. And if ever you grow big, you will be required to pay for the sins you committed 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Tax is
you live in fear anyway. Because you know any time now.
Where there is no grace applicable. these things of Jesus paid it all,
Yeah.
you cannot
Not
tell
at the
them
tax
to the
authority.
revenue authority. So I would encourage you that please do not, and you know the problem is that they will even come for you, even if it is how many years later.
Yeah, they don't forget.
They don't. It is very painful that even sometimes when it's an inheritance, you pay for the sins that a person who
imagine
who gave you the thing has.
That's how dangerous it is.
That's how dangerous it is.
Yeah.
Things that you don't know much about. So I would really encourage us that it seems painful, but like everything else, growth is painful.
Growth is painful.
There is nothing that you would lose if you are starting off from the right footing.
Yeah, you have a lot more to lose if you don't pay.
You have a lot more.
And many other lives to affect by you not
yes.
paying.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Because even if I've grown to a certain level, if they come for me and that company shuts down, all the 100 and something employees, that's
you
the
can
end of all
easily
those
lose
families.
the entire business
Yeah,
after 20
yeah.
years or 50 years because of
And
that.
imagine the effect on everyone that's in that business.
Yes.
In that
So
business.
of course, I mean, we've just touched the tip. But what I would encourage people, I think it's a big dream killer.
Dream killer, yeah.
A big dream
Not
killer.
only yours, but all the people around you.
Because
yes,
you imagine,
it's far-reaching. Yeah.
it is, imagine the compounding effect of doing this thing for probably 10 years, 15 years, or 20 years. And then they come after 20 years and give you a bill that even you've never seen.
You've not even made that money. You're like, we've never made this
You
money.
understand?
And they're like, that's what's due.
Meaning your dream is cut short.
That's it.
They have to liquidate you, you know?
That's true, yeah.
So my plea to people is don't
Forget everything you've had.
think about, find a good tax planner, ask as many questions. In fact, a friend of mine told me that many Indians, before they get into any business, the first thing they do is read the tax system, the tax code. When they get their understanding, what does the tax policy say about this industry, about this business? How can I take advantage of the system to benefit
Is there a
me?
loophole somewhere?
Yes, but they do everything legally, so that they want to make sure they pay what is required to be paid. That's from that perspective. But there is no growth in any country in this world where you're not paying taxes.
Yeah.
That is theft. Unless you're a thief, and even then, that is not scalable.
Unless you're a thief.
Yes.
It's true. But really, that's what you are.
Yes.
You're actually stealing in one way or the other.
Yes.
But it's good that you've brought that up, because you're right. You know, they're always telling you, don't pay. You have people confidently tell you, don't pay taxes. Taxes will kill your business. That's what we are told. That they will actually
There's none
kill
of
your
us,
business.
I don't know about many people who want to start a business and watch it die. I don't think.
No.
And
No one starts like that.
yeah. So I think it's painful. It's not very rosy to pay those taxes.
Yeah.
But I think that's
your responsibility.
Thinking. That's long-term thinking. That's partnering with government.
Yes. Yeah. You're adding value in the space you are. Yeah. Because really you are taking from there.
Yes.
I mean, save aside that, yes, the government might do whatever they want with it, but the truth of the matter is you're taking.
Yes.
It's only fair that,
Yes.
you know, you also
survive,
you give back.
If you're in a nation,
yes. That's how you help other people who can't.
You know,
Yes.
one time I was thinking that if our dream is to get out of this country and go to another country, let's imagine that we are successful because of cheating taxes, right? How will we survive in the next
In the other country.
How? Because maybe, let's say here we may know.
Our cousin might be somewhere.
My cousin may be the head of URA, right? Or my uncle. And we can call and make a few things work.
Until.
What happens when you go to Congo? What happens when you go to America? You know what I mean?
Never to survive. Yeah.
So I think business is majorly around principle.
Yes.
And as long as you enjoy it, that's what I've gotten to think. That's what I've gotten to believe. As long as you enjoy the sport, you can always play in any league. You know? But if you don't you really work on the principles of this of being successful in this league, you cannot be successful
in the
another
next
league.
one.
You know, you must play by the rule book.
Yeah, the issue is not the league.
The issue is not, you understand?
Yeah.
If your goal is to scale from one to the next, you cannot want to win while bribing the referee to help you win.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yes.
It must be an authentic
win. Yes.
For you to know that you're going to graduate from this division to the next.
But also for you to enjoy it, because I don't think that people, match fix, celebrate, genuinely at the end of the day.
At the end of the day,
it's not nicely
it's not
earned.
a sport that you're going to enjoy.
Yeah.
But it's not scalable.
Yeah.
You're not going to bribe your way in different countries.
So if you're ready to grow,
that's it. 1. 2, how will you pass it on? If you're going to pass on the baton to, let's say, your child, family business is what you were talking about earlier, right? How are you going to scale that? How are you going to scale? You think that the networks you have are the ones you're going to pass on to your children now?
And pass on your 2 books.
You understand? Because when the regimes change, when the networks change,
because you're growing,
there's nothing to pass. Now you're going to play by the rule book that everyone else has been playing with while growing.
Yeah.
You see, so automatically you're going to crash. This whole empire you've been building is going to crash.
It will crash. Yeah.
So for me, I would encourage people, plan.
Please,
get a tax planner. Pay them. It's a cost to the business. It is, how I wish someone had told me all this when I was starting out.
Yes.
I think
that very early on start to pay your taxes, file, do what you need to do. Even be on the right side of things.
Understand the tax law and what it means to you.
Invest in
your
understanding
sector.
that.
You must invest in it and understand what loopholes exist that you can actually take advantage of.
Yes, because that's not a crime.
It's not a crime. The loopholes exist for you.
For you.
The benefits, I think maybe I'm calling them the wrong thing, but the advantages, they are within the system, within the law. And
that you can take advantage of. Yes. Yeah.
They are not illegal. Take time to understand.
Yes.
The tax system.
Yeah.
Because that's what the business you're in is in that.
Yeah.
If you really want your business to live longer
than you, to create a legacy business. Yes.
I think. And also, not even if I've started to think that let's enjoy the sport.
Yeah.
Let's enjoy the sport.
Yes. I think have conversations where you're not stressed, you're just excited about what's happening.
Yeah, where you're
and the opportunities.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Do you know how people used to drive without driving permits? Mm-hmm. Those days, when you meet a traffic officer, you have to start stamping. When you see them from
turn the car, you look for the nearest route away.
That's it. Do you understand? That is how we used to think when you'd receive an email from you.
I know. Even if they're saying Merry Christmas.
My God.
You open it while...
My God. They would even call you to be like, we are just calling to remind you, babe, don't ever call me.
How did you get my number? Who gave you my...
You understand?
Yes, the thief run when there's no one chasing.
When there's no one chasing.
A week.
There is something good about...
The peace that comes with it as well.
The peace that comes with it. The innovation that comes with it.
It allows you to...
It allows you to think and to progress and to grow.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very good thing.
Yes.
That you feel free to operate within the boundaries of your country, within like you can go as far as this country's tax law will allow you. Anywhere in Uganda, you can do business there.
Yeah.
You
understand?
And you will
prosper.
Without hiding, and you will prosper. You understand?
Yeah.
I think the most successful people I have seen in business, majority, 90% or 95% of them actually pay their taxes.
Yes.
The few that I'm trying to inquire about, they actually pay their taxes. They actually have got consultants. They have a team that is...
It's seated there just to make sure. Yes.
To make sure. Now, I know when I'm saying this, of course, there are many people who are
judging
and saying,
these guys don't know, they don't know.
But if you ever dream of being successful,
you can't.
The process.
Yes. Yeah.
And the worst thing is, they will always come for you even 10 years later.
It doesn't matter.
15 years after you have made it,
they are
going to come for all those 15 years. And it's like as if they are sort of pulling you back where
I know, yes,
So why not?
Yeah, sort it out now.
Sort it out now.
Yeah, yes.
And you know.
Yes, yeah.
Do
Pay
it the
now,
right
enjoy.
way.
Then enjoy later, or enjoy now and pay later. It's up to you. It's entirely. It's really, life is a series of decisions.
Yes.
So this one, what is it going to be for you as a business person? I like what you have said. I mean, I don't know if the tax officials are saying. I think you should be their ambassador, a brand ambassador.
I think so. I think so. I would not be on any.
Yeah, this is influencer.
If they would give it as a tax benefit.
You know, never know. So keep encouraging people.
Yes.
But because you really love business people and you really want to see businesses thrive, I think that's why you're giving that solid advice, you know, that please don't give in to the lie. Pay your taxes. It's better to be on the better side of the law. It's always good for your business.
The law is always good when you're on its side.
On its side.
When you're on the opposite side, it's the worst animal you can ever
and
face.
it's only a matter of time.
Yes.
And it's only a matter of time. And because the law has come to reveal your sin and that's what the law does, really, yes. And it empowers it to just be stronger with you. But now you can actually defeat it in that area and just abide by it and just live through it. Wow, that is amazing. Allan Goldmine, we can talk until the cows come home. I don't know what is the equivalent of the cows coming home in Goldmine. But thank you so much for pouring into business people out there. I'm sure everybody is just amazed, because even me, I have learned like 3 things today that I need to go and actually implement. But thank you for sharing, for being vulnerable. I think that's a good thing about a leader, is their ability to actually be vulnerable. So thank you for just sharing with us. You've promised us that you'll come back for the tax conversation. We're going to have a tax month where we just tell people, how to go about it, where do you start, and have some of these conversations. But also to hear from people who are like, man, I didn't pay, but I paid eventually. Oh, me, I started by paying, and I'm now in a good place. Just to hear those testimonials, to encourage people, because we don't hear enough of the good stories. Most of the people you hear when you ask you, man, those guys, it's only bad things. But someone who has actually benefited. So I'm glad that you're saying, please guys, let's do this thing the right way. Let us grow our businesses and go to the next level. Let us think. Let us think. So think and grow rich. That's what the book says. There's a book, Think and Grow Rich. But really, it's been amazing sitting with you today, and it's a good conversation to have at the start of the year. And I'm sure our businesses will not be the same again. Guys, if you learned from this show, please send Allan a message on all his socials. You can find him, or just send a message to Goldmine and say, your boss has done this for my business. It's always good to hear, and always give gratitude where it is due. So thank you so much, Allan. And our listeners, our viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. We never like to leave without giving you an opportunity to give your life to Christ. You've had us making so many references to Jesus, because that is where it all starts. Our forefather Abraham was a businessman, and the business principles that we see these days, many of them come even from the Bible, but it all starts with the one that gives you the real purpose, and that's the one that created you. Just like your business is run a certain way because you created it, even you have a creator, and he's the one that can really give you all these dreams and give you a life of purpose. But it starts with entrusting everything to him, entrusting your life, and that's the most important decision you can make. Allan has talked about tax, but the most important decision, I believe, is giving your life to Christ. And if you'd like to do that today, you can say this prayer with us. Say, dear Lord, thank you that you love me. Thank you that you gave your very best for me, so that I could have life in its fullness. And today, I ask that you forgive me for all my sins. Come into my life, turn it around, be my Lord and Savior for the rest of my life. In Jesus' name I've prayed. Amen. So if you have just said that prayer, you are born again, and we would like to hear from you. So please do call us or send us a message on this number. Say, I gave my life to Jesus Christ on Business Garage. The number is +256 775 642 449. Let me repeat it. +256 775 642 449. The pastor at the end of that line will connect you to a loving church family, celebrate with you, and then tell you the next steps. So from all of us here at Business Garage, we know that you have learned a lot. So go out and be a blessing, because you've already been blessed with every spiritual blessing in heavenly places. Until next time, you can join us for Garage at any one of our locations around the world, 140 plus of them. But until next time, bye-bye from all of us.